first one to talk?
Uh-huh. If you want to be.
Okay, hold on. Just give me 1 second because I got to think. Hey, guys. Welcome back to House of the Dragon. Welcome, Airheads.
And welcome, Airheads 2.
The sister show of Puttin on Air's House of the Dragon.
It's not House of the Dragon.
Little House of the Dragon.
There you go.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Don't put that on there. Hey, guys. Welcome back to Little House of the Dragon. This is Kirby and Corey. This is a sister podcast of Puttin on Airs.
That's right. Welcome back, Airheads. We're glad to have you here. We got a lot of positive feedback on the show.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Now, you say you're glad to hear it because you didn't check the comments because I instructed you not to check the comments.
Yeah, I haven't checked any comments purposely. I don't want to know. It kind of makes me feel sick to my stomach.
And I don't blame you. And again, I know I tell you not to check the comments, and you shouldn't because you shouldn't get in the habit of it. But I will tell you that they were I won't even say overwhelmingly positive. They were all positive. There wasn't one negative comment on the YouTube feed, at least. Now, granted, I stopped looking too because I was like, "Hey, you're not taking your own advice here. Do the thing. Practice what you preach, brother."
Yeah.
But people love you. And I've always said, I've told everybody for years that my sister is actually the shining star of the family. It's just that she doesn't have the whatever mental illness it is that a person has to have in order to pursue stand-up. Narcissism. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. But no, we everybody loved it. We're happy to be back here for episode 2 of Little House on the Dragon. And this episode was titled
The Rogue Prince.
And I loved it.
Yeah, no, I loved it too.
Straight into the action.
Yeah, 5 dragons.
5 dragons.
Five
for sure.
dragons,
Right out the gate with 5 dragons.
Yeah, 5 dragons. I know, it was great. It started off being started 6 months after the previous episode, which I've learned by doing a little bit of my research. This season will have a lot of time jumps.
Yeah, I didn't know until today when I was doing a little research that and the reason I say this is because I heard somebody talk about the girl who plays Alicent.
Yeah.
Somebody referred to her as she plays young Alicent, and I was like, wait, what? Wait, have we seen Alicent before? I was like, no, wait, was Alicent in Game of Thrones? Was she 175 years old? And then they were like, no, they're older actors are going to come in and play these characters.
Same with Rhaenyra.
Yeah, it's still going to be Matt Smith, though.
Yes.
Like the older people are still going to say the same.
They just look like they're little kids still,
right.
you know.
Speaking of little kids, we'll get to it a little bit later, but
God.
Jesus Christ, that's a kind of a theme of this episode.
It is, and you know.
Like I said, we'll get to it, but
woo. Yeah, well, it started off 6 months after the first episode. You know, they start off at the small council meeting. Lord Corlys.
Lord Corlys, yeah.
The Snake Lord.
Oh, is that what it's called? It's called
yes,
the Snake Lord?
Snake Lord.
Was that in the show, or you just know that?
I don't know if I know it or if it's in the show.
His hair kind of looks like snakes.
Yeah. He was mad.
Big mad
because the Stepstones are like his area, and he's got a fleet of ships, and the crab feeder guy is attacking their ships, and literally, the episode started with men getting eaten by crabs.
Yeah, so do we know, now maybe I missed it, but are we supposed to know anything about this crab feeder other than here's a guy who is killing so many people and is on the beach that he's literally feeding people to crabs? Which, that sort of turned me off crabs for a second. That turned my stomach. I'm a huge crab person.
Yeah.
But I saw that episode where the crabs are eating these people, and then this morning on a completely unrelated topic, did I send you that video of the crab that was on the beach, and he came up and he grabbed this baby turtle while the baby turtle's trying to get away, and the crab ran off from it, and I was like, this is a pretty rough day for me and crabs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not really for them right now.
Yeah, I don't know what the crab feeders deal is, who elected him leader of that outfit.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't know.
Sometimes when you're just that badass of a dude, you just kind of take over the outfit.
We learned that, the free cities are the ones that
sorry, we're recording this outside in beautiful, historic Chickamauga, Georgia, and every now and then there's just gunshots and stuff that happen, so you're just going to have to deal with that. I like it for the ambiance, but go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
It's definitely a vibe. But yeah, the episode technically started out with people getting eaten by crabs. Lord Corliss comes into the small council meeting, which, by the way, very impertinent when it comes to the king.
For sure.
Like, he
sort of speaks above his register, as Granny used to say.
For sure. And, like, I think Viserys isn't actually mad that he speaks that way. He only acts mad when Otto is like, you shouldn't speak that way. And Viserys is like, yeah.
It's kind of like when, like, Robert only made Ned call him King Robert when he was in front of other people.
Yeah,
it's like when we're backstage, like, I'm Robert, I'm your boy, but like in the West Wing, the president, certain people, he makes them cause, like, when we're in public, you have to call me president.
Exactly.
Because I don't think that Viserys, the thing that makes Viserys, in my opinion, a good person is the thing that is going to make him a bad king. And
I don't think you really can be both.
You can't. No, you can't. And it's sort of like when I'm looking at things like this in a television show, I realize the dichotomy of what I believe as a real person and what I believe as a viewer of a television show, because in real life, I don't want my president or leader to be someone who, like, wants to go to war. I want them to be like, find any other means. Let's have peace. But then when I'm watching a show like this and the exact same stakes are up for grab, I'm going, bro, you got to get in there and attack. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't care at all. And I'm like, oh, right. Mm-hmm. Leaders have to make really hard, terrible decisions.
For the realm.
Yeah. And Viserys doesn't seem like a person that is, like, willing to do any of that.
Yeah, well, and so we've learned that Lord Corliss, he's, like, one of the richest dudes in the realm. Mm-hmm. Like, he's, like, the Tywin Lannister.
Right.
The more, like,
do we know how he got his money?
The ships.
The ships,
like,
he was just a shipman. He's a self-made man.
Like, yes, he's a self-made man.
Because he's the second son.
He's the second.
He's one of the second sons. Wasn't that what him and Matt Smith were commiserating over? Is like, we were the second born, which means we had to earn everything that we got.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, so he's all mad. His ships, his men. Otto, which I saw someone literally call him the middle finger instead of little finger.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, which I thought was good.
I love that.
He's just like, I mean, we'll compensate you, you know, like, we'll holler at the families. And he's like, I don't want that. Right. Like, that's not the point. Like, what are we going to do? We got to wage war. And Viserys is like, literally in the history of Westeros, we've never gone to war with the free cities.
Right.
Well, you know, never say never. There's a first for everything. For
sure. That's how precedent gets set. And also, he's like, listen, Viserys, we are very vulnerable right now for two reasons. Number one, your wife's been dead for 6 months. Move on, bro. Like, you're going to have to produce an heir. We know that you've named your daughter as the heir, but nobody, like,
That's 6 years in earthly years.
For sure. Oh, without question.
Yeah.
But you're living in this bubble where you think that, like, oh, I've named my daughter an heir. Everything's cool. Mm-hmm. But it's like most people are like, oh, my God, a woman's going to be queen. We can't have that. We've already seen it before where they tried to do that and it got shot down. So we're vulnerable on that front, but we're also vulnerable in the sense that in these 6 months, your brother has fled the city, taken over Dragonstone, got all the gold cloaks to go with him, and you aren't doing anything about it. And if you don't
told him to go there, should he not have brought his bros?
No, it's like you got to have his homies with him.
I mean, literally, at the end, he's like, you know, bye, see you later.
No, we know that. I know. We know that as viewers.
I'm thinking as Viserys, like, what you mad about?
No, I'm just saying, like, we as viewers and Viserys knows that that's how it went down. But, like, I think what Corliss is trying to say to him is, like, in the grand scheme of things, all people see is your brother did this to you and you didn't cut his head off or set him completely adrift. Exactly. So when you couple that with the fact that the line of succession is sort of wibbly wobbly right now, we're going to have to make some sort of big move, and the free people can't just continue to live unchecked.
Yeah. So Rhaenyra, you know, while she's just like pouring everybody's wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still the cupbearer after 6 months.
Yeah, still the cupbearer, which, side note, the little conversation with her was technically her, like, second cousin or whatever. Whenever she calls her the queen that never was, and she said, they bent the knee to me, and she said, I bet they remind you of that whenever you're filling their cups. I was like, ooh.
Savage.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes, I like her. Her and Corliss together, like they're gonna be
They're a power couple.
Oh, power couple. But Rhaenyra suggests dragon riders, which I've said this to you. I think I said it, maybe said it on the first podcast. We've talked about this. I just feel like how could there ever be a war lost when a dragon could just come by and just actually burn the whole army? But I guess the show would just end.
Yeah, right. There's some things that you just kind of have to hand wave and just be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. But she suggests that, and, they're kind of like, huh? Otto is like, why don't you just go pick out the new Kingsguard? Like, know your place.
Hey, get out of here.
Get out of here. We'll entertain you. Sir Harold takes her over there to, like, the little area at the Red Keep. She's picking out, new Kingsguard, all these knights. She has to step on a little stool. So she goes to pick out the new Kingsguard. Sir Kristen Cole is who she picks, which sounds just like Christian Bale.
I was about to say, you pointed out to me that he sounds just like Christian Bale, like prestige Christian Bale, not Batman Christian Bale, but like how Christian Bale actually sounds in real life, which, by the way, I think it was only maybe 5 years ago that I realized that that's how he sounded. Like,
you never watched Little Women?
No.
Doesn't he talk like that in Little Women, or is that just old accent?
I didn't see him in Little Women, but even if I had, like, I also didn't think that he talked like this.
Well, actually, I don't think that he had the English accent in Little Women. I think he just, like, spoke educated, and I just assumed people are from Europe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But the only two things that I'd ever really seen him in were, like, American Psycho and Batman. So to me, he doesn't really have an English look to him. Mm-hmm. Like, he looks like an American dude. I assumed
he was from Boston.
Yeah, okay, fair. Like, from Boston. So, like, the first time I heard him in an interview, I was like, he's a Lamy bastard.
Yeah. Well, so Sir Harold goes over there with her to help her. And Otto, middle finger. Which, still digging the fact that Sir Harold just has a Scottish accent.
Love it.
When are we going to learn the location in the realm that's the accent?
I know.
Wait.
Did Davos have a Scottish accent? Fleabulb?
No, that's like what's the accent for?
Bromel?
I can't remember. There's a term for that kind of accent.
Yeah.
But, so she
also, while we're talking about Otto, I love that in 2 episodes, he has gone from like, noble hand of the king, to flash forward 6 months. You can really see his wheels turning behind, like you can really see the chess pieces that he's playing and the way that he manipulates the king without the king understanding what's going on. Not that the king's stupid. The king is just very kind and trustworthy. Yeah,
the king's just not vindictive, so he has a hard time seeing people vindictive. I think he's just naive.
Yeah, for sure. I
think he's just naive. Like, I think that if he had a hand that really, like, if he had Ned Stark as a hand, I think that he'd probably be a really good king.
Maybe. I don't know if, like, him and Ned Stark have too many qualities where they're like, let's always do the right thing instead of the thing that's going to make us win.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. Like, you do have to have somebody that's like, okay, great, you're the nice king, but, like, I'm running things behind the scenes, and I know when to be a butthead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, during all this, which I think she picked him because he had combat experience and also because he's good looking.
He's super hot.
She's into him. During this, small council meets. It was during that, right?
Yeah.
That's when the small council met again. They were still meeting.
The small council was meeting, and then she starts talking, above her board, and they were like, get her out of here.
Yeah.
And give her a menial task to do, like choosing the Kingsguard.
Yeah. Well, Corliss at this time, not during the meeting, after the meeting, him and Rhaenys, his wife, who I think is
so hot.
She is very attractive.
Yeah,
very attractive.
Me and you were talking during the episode about how attractive she was, and I knew that I'd seen her somewhere. And she, if you don't know, she plays Wallace Simpson in The King's Speech, and Puttin on Air's fans know Wallace Simpson because I talked about her at length during the episode. I can't remember which number, but when I talked about Edward's abdication. So if you haven't checked it out, go listen to that episode in our archives at watchpoa.com.
There you go. Well, they approach the king, and they're like, hey, you've got a duty. It's been 6 months. You got a duty. It's been 6 months since your wife died. Like, why don't you holler at our 12-year-old? 12.
Yeah.
12. Which, if you've read the books, this is not shocking any time a minor's involved in anything. Like,
well, I was going to say, it was a different time. It's not. It's a completely different world. It's absolutely meant for us to be disgusted at it, though.
yes.
Like, now, unfortunately, there is a large, well, I won't say large section of the population, but there are a lot of people that were seeing this just going, yes, excellent.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was like, I was watching that with you, and when he said, you need to take my daughter, and then they showed the scene with her, like, there was this one moment where I was like, oh, my God, and I turned, and you were looking at me just going, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the only time in the episode that I, like, went back into my, like, real-world brain instead of House of Dragon brain, when she said, like, my mom said I didn't have to bed you until I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
I got aggravated because they don't have, like, some 18-year-old girl that looks like she's 12 playing this part. An actual child was told to say that.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't like that. I didn't.
No, I'm with you. Like,
an actual child had to say those words.
No, I'm with you. Like, I've always had. Like when there's movies where there's a child actor and the child has to say these certain things, like
just like when they cast the fat child actor, like they know you're telling them they're fat.
And I mean Natalie Portman in Leon, aka The Professional, like it's a very adult movie, and there's part of me that is like, oh my God, it is horrible that we've had to make this child say all this stuff. But then there's the other part of me that goes, well, this is how that story would go, and maybe it's an important story to tell, and like you just have to have the kid do it, and then maybe have an on-site therapist tell the kid, like, hey, listen, this is a character, but like, I hear you, like, that's a rough thing. I would not want my child in that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, if they paid me Game of Thrones money, maybe, but you know what I'm saying.
So they suggest them getting married, and, to give Viserys credit, like, he seems very put off by the idea, which it ends up being funny that he just, like, tells, I can't remember if he told Otto or if it was the Grand Maester. Like, I mean, I just don't even know her that well.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah, like,
yeah. I don't know. Like, we don't really have a lot in common. Like, I'm a king. She's barely potty trained.
Yeah, which, whenever they suggested this, said that she had the Valyrian blood. Like, but, I know the 12-year-old, that's terrible. But also, I'm thinking, yeah, it probably is best for the realm. But, the Valyrian blood, like, join the houses for the realm. It'll probably be the best thing. But I knew, he's been hollering at Alicent for 6 months now.
Of course.
And
how old is she?
I think like 15. I'm assuming.
And it's so funny that I'm just like, that's better.
I mean, it is better.
She looks older, at least.
Well, because that little girl doesn't even look 12 to me.
No,
she
she's
looks like
she's 9. Yeah, she's a baby.
Yeah. So we know he's going to be hollering at her.
For sure.
They end up finding out. Otto lets the king know, by the way, your trifling brother stole your dragon egg that was supposed to be put in the crib for when Balon was born.
Yeah, like, he can't take the egg that we're supposed to put in the baby's bassinet.
Yeah, so
what sort of weird-ass tradition is that?
This is a slap in his face in all different kinds of ways. Like, he's mad. He's like, well, I'm heading over to Dragonstone. I'm going to take care of business.
How long do dragons stay in their egg, by the way? Like, I don't really understand, because they're like, we've had this dragon egg for a while. Like, how long does it take a dragon egg to hatch?
I don't know.
I don't
know because, like, it has to be a long time because, remember, Daenerys, was gifted 3 dragon eggs. Like, the dragons had supposedly died years and years and years and years before.
I assumed that was some sort of, like, magical thing, and, of course, magic
you
does
put them in fire and they just hatch.
Yeah, right. They're just like, well, whenever we want these dragons, there will be dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we're just going to go with that. It's you just put them in your own little flaming incubator, and there you go.
Well, Otto's like, no, you can't go over there. It's too dangerous, which, I understand.
True.
I understand. So Rhaenyra ends up, Otto goes over there with the King's Guard. and it's like, you know, you got to stop doing what you're doing. He comes out with his...
They're all like, hey, let's meet on this ominous bridge. How about that? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, and side note, Damon said that he took the egg because his wife was pregnant, that he was going by the rules of old Valyria and taking a second wife, because evidently back in the old Valerian days, they had more than one wife. So he's like, I'm going to take a wife, which it's the prostitute from the brothel in episode 1.
Yes.
Which you can tell he really does like.
Yeah, so, and it's sort of like it's like, oh, this is a Tyrion thing. It's like he's taking a whole wife, but he loves her.
Yeah. So,
and we saw how that was handled.
Yeah. Yeah, not good.
Not good.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some foreshadowing.
Yeah, right.
But they show up.
And this was 175 years before, so it's not like they're going to be more progressive about that type of thing.
No. They show up. He comes out with his wife. He's got the egg, and he's just like throwing it around like it's a football.
Yeah.
Just like stressing everybody out.
Is this the egg he's wanting to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm stressed. Like it's not a good thing. Otto's stressed. He's like, you know, come on, man. Give me the egg, basically.
Hey, buddy, listen.
Yeah.
We all know you wanted an egg.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the king's egg.
Yeah.
And, like, he would have been here.
Yeah.
But, like, he's trying to work out this whole thing with a 12-year-old. You know how it goes. Heir succession, all that.
All of a sudden, you hear, caw, and it's just...
Up from the clouds.
The clouds, like, do this little fluffy-looking thing, and it zooms over you like a freaking Six Flags ride.
Yeah, it was great.
So cool. Princess Rhaenyra is on the dragon. And I mean, that was just like,
Parallel parks it on the ominous bridge.
Yes, she does. She does. But when she did that, I mean, it was just like, ooh.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, she's fearless. I mean, she's the Arya of this show.
She's the Arya, Daenerys type of hybrid where it's like...
Sansa in the last season.
Yeah, and I love that the show is basically just going like, men talk a lot of talk. But here is, I'm a woman, and I'm just going to do it. Like, she'd already told her dad in the High Council, she's like, we got dragon riders.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
He's got
the gold cloaks. We got today's equivalent of tanks with nukes.
Yeah.
Let's just go take our stuff, Dad.
Yeah. And which I think part of it is the fact that she really has been so sheltered, that she's so naive that she thinks she can just
do whatever she wants.
Yeah, like just fix the world, you know? But her interaction with Daemon, I mean, she goes up to Daemon and tells him, like, listen, I'm the heir. If you want to be heir, you're going to have to kill me.
Yeah, right.
Well, and
I'm right here, dude.
And they have this moment where, like, I mean, I don't know, he digs her.
In a that way?
I think he digs her in a that way.
You mean like a that's a way, or
yeah,
like
in a like true Targaryen, like blood don't matter. I like you.
Right, we should be together because if we're together,
I just think that he loves her as a niece, but I also think that
he respects her.
I think he respects her, but I think the lines get muddled and there might be an attraction there.
Yeah, right. Or he's just like, I see a lot of myself in you. I'm also I'm going to do whatever I think is best type person.
His parents were brother and sister.
Yeah, of course. It's not like in this world, that's not a thing.
Yeah. So he gives her the egg, and it's like, I'm not going to fight you about it. Like, yeah, you're right.
Thing?
Like,
sure, go ahead.
You know, I don't want to kill you. Well, they go back, and she's just thinking, I'm going to roll up, and Daddy's going to be like, that's my girl. I should have listened to you. Well, you know, he's mad. Like,
of course.
You know,
she
you're my heir. Like, what if something happened to you? Which, I mean, he forgives her. Like, he wasn't unreasonably mad. Like, he just... He ended up being nice.
That's the thing. He doesn't get unreasonably mad.
No, that is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, they have this talk, and, you know, he just says, I know we haven't talked enough since your mom died. Like
6 months. We've just been sitting here at this big, long
barely
table.
talking.
Yeah.
And they kind of have, like, a little sweet, you know, daughter, son.
He says,
that's
a regret of mine.
Yeah. Which, by the way, interspersed in this episode, you have him having his little private dates with Allison.
Right. And it's the thing about it, it seems like an actual, let's forget the fact that she's 15. In this world, that's different than our world. They seem to have an actual good relationship. It's not just like, come in here and empty me, wench, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, help me talk to my daughter. I know y'all are friends. You know what I'm saying?
And she seems like she's on the verge of tears, like, she's doing like her father's bidding. I think right now she is innocent.
I don't think she knows. I think that she thinks she's doing the right thing.
And I mean, it's obviously going to change.
Of course.
But I do feel bad for her. I mean, it sounds like her and Rhaenyra, they're all each other has, like,
right.
friends-wise, and she knows, like, things are going to get messed up. Well, they've spent their time together. Next day, we have the small council meeting, and he's going to announce that he is going to get remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Corliss is thinking, my daughter, like, that's who he's going to marry. Well, he said, I'm going to marry the lady Alicent Hightower. So the room's just like, do what?
Pardon me? Is this thing on?
Yeah, and Otto's just like, Corliss says, this is absurd.
Yeah.
He storms out.
You will bang my 12-year-old daughter in 2 years, and you will like it, sir.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So Rhaenyra gets mad. She runs out of the room. I had someone on Facebook say, if you noticed, Alicent is wearing the same dress that she wore the night before.
Uh-huh.
Did she stay the night with the king that night?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to
Which
point
I know
out.
they didn't have, like, a huge wardrobe.
Yeah.
But, like, she had her dresses and her mom's dresses. So double what most
I mean, I know that this is a fictional world, but it's based on medieval England.
Yeah,
and
it's inspired,
And in those worlds, like, dude, a royal person changes clothes 10 times a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was looking up something not long ago for an episode of Puttin on Airs, and it was like, basically the people of the Biltmore went through 65 outfits a week. Because it was like you wear something for breakfast, something for lunch, then something for polo, and then like to go to bed in, and then for dinner, and then so like
I can't imagine that.
No, that would be the worst. I mean, I change a lot of clothes, but it's just because I be sweating. But that's it.
Yeah. Well, Rhaenyra runs out of the room, understandably, like she is hurt. Then we flash to Corliss, Lord Corliss, at the end. He's talking to somebody you can't tell who he's talking to. Basically saying, like, I've been done wrong. We should team up, do wrong together.
Yeah, I love this scene because it's a classic thing that they do in movies. Like, I've seen Sam Raimi do it a lot. They did it in Spider-Man where, like, you have a character and they're just talking. And so the audience is like, who are they talking to? And then chair swivel. And you're like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So him and Daemon are going to get a little bit of an alliance going on, which I did like. Like, he was being impertinent, talking bad about the king, and Daemon was like, whoa.
Hold on now.
Like, I can talk about him.
I can say whatever I want.
I mean, it's like the typical, like, I can get mad at you and be like, God, you're being such a jerk. But, like, someone else say it, I'm just like, hold the phone.
Yeah,
like, don't say that about him.
That's the first thing I thought of was, like, I have, like, me and you both probably about each other have very valid criticisms of each other that we don't mind saying out loud. But if I was saying it to somebody, my sister did this, and then they started agreeing with me, I'd be like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
No. I'm allowed to be mad at her right now. You do not say that about my sister.
Yeah.
At
you
all.
Don't say anything.
I'll kill you.
Which I thought that was really funny, and that also shows that, like, Damon's not a complete, like, terrible person.
Right.
He loves his brother.
Right.
He's really hurt that he
Because-
wasn't put as heir. Like, he's really hurt by it.
Because that's certainly not like how, let's say, a Cersei felt about Tyrion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could see Tyrion doing that. Like, hey, hold on, I'll say whatever I want about Jaime and Cersei, but that's my family, you don't. But Cersei, like, she wouldn't be like, that's my blood, don't you? But, like, yeah, I mean, it does show of Daemon, like, all right, my family's still my family. I wish that I didn't have to be doing all this stuff.
Agreed. It was a good episode.
I thought it was a great episode. I thought that I saw a lot of people talking about how they're really rushing right into the action, and they're not, like in Game of Thrones, there's several episodes where, like, it'll just be Arya and Podrick or whatever hanging out by a river chatting.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well, that, like, I think Game of Thrones knew, like, we've got a long way to go here, and maybe House of Dragon doesn't have as long to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great for the fans, at least, for us to be like, hey, man, again, we left with a little sour note on Season 8 of Game of Thrones. Let's get right to it.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in my opinion, there can't be enough dragons. So
Agreed, and I'm excited. Did you see that HBO's already announced that it's renewed for season 2?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I figured it would.
Honestly, I'm surprised that it just from the start, it wasn't, we're going to do 2 seasons of
and
this.
maybe, like, it was. They're just, like, saying, like, that.
But because it was, maybe, of course, they've probably already filmed all the episodes for this season, but, like, maybe they will be slowing down a little bit and, like, hey, let's do some character studies and let's find out more about this person instead of, doom, doom, doom. But, no, I enjoyed it. And I wanted to talk about this as we close because we're done, right, with the show. Yeah. Speaking of Game of Thrones, I noticed, and I watched this episode twice, and the first time I felt differently about it than I did the second time. When we first watched it and I noticed that they're just using the Game of Thrones theme music, I was like, wait, what? I was like, that, because in my mind I was like, that's lazy. Like, what are you doing? But then the second time I watched it, the song came on and it immediately just sent chills down my spine of like how I used to feel when a new episode of Game of Thrones came on, and I was like, okay, I'm
digging the sound. I love it, but do I think the actual visual of the intro is as good as Game of Thrones?
No,
but,
it can't be.
If I'd never seen the intro to Game of Thrones, I'd be like, yeah.
And I think that's a great point, too, just about this show in general. If Game of Thrones never existed and this show was the first thing we ever saw in this world, I think that a lot of people would feel differently. Not that this show isn't getting praise. It is. But I think that, like, you're never not going to compare it to Game of Thrones. But if this had come first, I think this would be even more groundbreaking than it is. Do you know what I'm saying? I think people would be like, dude, this is the right here.
Agreed. And, at the end, they showed the little preview for next week, which I think it's fine if we just go ahead and...
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and tease it.
It looks like we see the crab feeder. I don't know if is it a mask or is that just like what he looks like?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. If it was a mask or if it was like a Jeffrey Rush and Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
We're at least a year and a half in the future because he's had another kid.
Yeah, right.
The king has. He obviously gets married. He has a kid.
Right.
So the kid.
Are we going to see the same actors in the third episode? Do you think? I don't know how far they're going to jump.
Well, yes, we see Rhaenyra,
okay,
the actress that plays Rhaenyra right now in next episode. Now I don't know about after that.
Yeah, right.
But we see her. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. I'm happy to be back in Westeros, as it were. And I don't know, like, I'm sure that the expectations for a lot of people was high because it was Game of Thrones. Mine were somewhere in the middle because I was like, well, I'm excited because it's coming out, but let's face it, we all saw what happened when there's not as much source material to go on. I've been pleasantly surprised. It has exceeded all my expectations. Yeah. I've had a blast watching the show. I've had a blast rewatching the show. I've had a blast doing this here Little House of the Dragon with you, my sweet sister.
I've had a blast.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I mean, like I said last episode, I love a fandom, and, Lloyd's tired of hearing me talk about things, I'm sure, so.
And much like Little House of the Dragon, I think I can say with the reception that we've gotten on this series, I can go ahead and renew us for a second season of Little House of the Dragon.
I'm sure the viewers agree.
Yeah, they do, of course.
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, y'all keep commenting. We really appreciate it. Keep sharing it with your friends. Of course, continue to check out our flagship show, Puttin on Airs, and you can find this show at watchpoa.com and on the Puttin on Airs feed. Also, by the way, you can get this episode early at corywritesforyou.com. That is my Substack. It is a subscription service. I do some essays on there. I do videos. I do podcasts. It's $5 a month, and it gets you a lot of things early, bonus things. But if you can't afford it, all you got to do is email me at buttercreamcorey@gmail.com, and I will comp you, no questions asked. Thank you so much for listening to Little House of the Dragons or watching Little House of the Dragons. 5 dragons, right?
5 dragons.
5 dragons for sure. I've been Corey Ryan Forster.
Kirby Askew. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, and we'll see you next time. Skew.